with that down, let's move on to One Piece and the wonderful differences between the One Piece anime, which I have seen most of what is covered in the show, and the live action show, which I really like. Now, to be clear, let's give some background on this. Being exactly like the anime will not make the show good. Being a good show is more than just copying verbatim what the source material is. And also, just because you copy the source material doesn't mean that your show is going to be good either. You have to, because there's a lot of things between mediums that do not translate well. The hyper, goofy, active, and very exaggerated facial features do not translate from anime to a human face. We can't do that. And so obviously there's going to be differences. And with the time constraints, they're going to have to cut a lot of things out as well. I think they did a pretty decent job. There was one big thing that I wish they had kept in, but given what they gave us, I understand why they made the choice that they made, and I'm okay with it. I just really wish I got to see it in live action, but we'll get to that in a second. So let's start with the first thing I want to talk about is Mr. Seven. I may not know One Piece that much, but I know that Mr. Seven is just a tiny little reference somewhere in the show about the past. They actually brought him forward as a means to demonstrate Zoro's skill, and that was really, really cool. And so I was really excited to see that, and also a great way to show how violent and bloody the show is going to be. Cuts the dude right in half, falls into two pieces. Spoilers, by the way. I need to get a spoiler sticker and just put it right over my face. But that was really cool. So now a really, really big change is Kobe and Garp. In the original anime, Kobe's only in it for the first 3 episodes, I think. And then when he goes off and fights Buggy, you don't see Kobe anymore. As far as I knew, Kobe never shows up again in the show, but I did a little bit of Googling, and he does, and that's super cool. I look forward to getting to that point in the anime, but I don't have to wait that long, because in the live-action show, he stays here. So Kobe is here, and he's like a sub-narrative with another character that doesn't show up for quite a while, apparently, Garp, who happens to be Kobe's grandpa. And so Garp, they pull Garp from the future towards the beginning of the show, basically, and they pair him and Kobe together as like the side duo that are chasing Luffy. And I thought that was brilliant because it gives that show just an extra thickness to the narrative, and it helps with the world building as well, because we get to see how the Marines work and things like that. And I really liked Kobe and his portrayal in this show, and I thought Garp was absolutely amazing. I don't know this guy's name, but dude killed it. This guy was awesome. And I haven't seen the anime version of him yet, but the live action version, this guy is incredible. He's really, really good. If you haven't watched the show, I'd say he might be worth watching it just because I'm watching it, the show, and I realized, oh my God, this guy is great. I really love this character. And that's one of the best parts about the One Piece property in general, is that the characters are all great. Manga, anime, live action, the characters are wonderful to watch. Kobe is great, and I thought the human actor, live action character, did a great job replicating his scared, uncertain face. I mean, just look at this face. He's so scared. And so another thing that I really liked was Buggy. In the anime, Buggy has his arc. They defeat him, and you don't see him again after that, as far as I know. Let me know in the comments down below if you see Buggy again. But in the show, first off, I think they really kind of neutered a little bit of what Buggy's power is. Not his personal power, but he has what's called Buggy balls, and they could decimate an entire city with one shot. And he puts Luffy in a cage and threatens to shoot it at them. They just wrote that out entirely from the live action anime series. There's no Buggy balls, and they really condensed his whole arc down quite a bit. And there was quite a few episodes in the anime. They condensed it down mostly to almost just one episode, maybe 2. for the live action. And so that for me was a little disappointing because I really would have liked to see a lot of Buggy Ball's destruction. But I understand narrative wise, you only have so much time. And for a 1 hour show, you have to condense a lot of things in to make it work. And so, though I wish I could have seen more of him, or more of that arc, I am happy with what we got. And I'm also happy that we got more of this character because they actually keep him around. The fish people show up and take his head. And we actually get to see this character pop up a little bit more than what I was expecting. So that is actually a nice little treat because I really like the actor who plays him. He did a really good job. And now, next, another big difference here would be Kuro and the mansion arc, where he is basically, this guy's a pirate and he's posing as a butler for a princess. This is where we get to meet Usopp, and he's basically a town liar. And when he figures out that this guy is planning to kill the rich girl and take all of her money as her butler, nobody believes him because he's been lying his whole life. I thought this actor was incredible in the role. This guy was sinister as heck. He was scary, he was mean, he was creepy, he was great. Definitely a standout for the show. And I'm so glad that they took their time to pick actors for this show that actually made an impression, because this guy makes an impression. But one of the biggest things about his arc that has changed is that in the show, when he reveals himself to be a pirate, he calls his pirate crew and they show up on the beach, and he and the entire pirate crew, basically an army, and Luffy and his small crew have a huge battle. And they fight it out on the beach, and it's really, really epic and really, really fun, and I enjoyed it. But we don't get that here. In here, in the live action version, they contain the battle to the mansion, and we just get two of his servants. And I gotta tell you, it worked out well. All the characters had their moments, mostly, except for Usopp. In the anime, Usopp stands up to this guy and gets the absolute crap beaten out of him. Unfortunately, they didn't quite make enough time for that here, because in the live action version, Usopp stands up to him for like a minute and gets punched and flies into a wall and then gets up and he's fine. Whereas, so Usopp doesn't quite get the huge emotional arc of him really pursuing. And even though he's weak, he's fighting this guy. He didn't get that as much here as he did in the anime, because in the anime, he gets the crap beat out of him. Like, it's like quite a bit. And he continues to go, and that's very, very impressive, and that really made me care for his character. There's a little bit less of that here, but overall, I think what we got and the arc with Luffy, Luffy had more time with him than Usopp, and that's understandable because Luffy's the main character. Overall, I'm pretty happy with what we got, and I thought that the pacing was really well as well, and he's just sinister as well. So let's move on to the next part. This is the part that was actually mostly disappointing for me, was the Don Krieg arc, or the lack thereof. You see, in the anime show, Don Krieg is this incredibly powerful pirate lord who has his fleet decimated by another pirate lord named Mihawk, and he shows up at the restaurant where our main characters are currently staying, and he wreaks havoc on the customers and tells everybody what to do, and basically just wants to get food, essentially. And instead, what happens here, that is reserved for the Arlong pirates, the fish people. And here, he's almost killed off screen. Because in the anime, he has like a 6 or 7 episode battle, which was great. I loved watching that. But here, his character is basically, nope, pushed to the side, killed almost off screen. He gets like an entire 15 seconds of screen time. And apparently he's dead. And so I was kind of disappointed that I didn't get to see a real crazy version of Don Krieg in live action. But again, I understand that because of time constraints, they can't adapt everything. And I'm actually really glad that instead they shortened it down. They actually elevated the character Mihawk and gave him the spotlight. Him and Zoro have their battle just like they do in the anime, but here there's no big battle going on around them. It's just Zoro and Mihawk, and it really puts a spotlight on Zoro and his character development and how awesome Mihawk is. Because, again, the actors who play these characters are great. Mihawk is another fantastic character in the live action show. And so I was really happy with that. Still wish I could have seen more of Dawn Krieg. But they pulled the Arlong arc forward, and I really loved that arc. In the anime, the girl with the orange hair, I forget her name. I always forget the name when I need it. While the battle's going on, she slips away and sneaks off back to Arlong Park to be with the Pirate King that she's going to be with, and the characters have to go find her and fight the Pirate King and see why she left him. Whereas here in the show, she just flat out betrays Luffy to his face and agrees to go with Arlong, and they leave together. And so that was a big difference, but I also think that it meant for a lot more of an emotional impact, especially when I got to see the results of the Arlong arc in live action. I was really happy with it. So those are the biggest differences that I saw personally that really came to mind that I thought of. But what about you guys? Let me know in the comments down below. What are the biggest differences that you noticed that you were happy with or unhappy with? And I also did a One Piece review. If you missed that video from the last live stream, you can check that out right here when the stream is over. And until next time, you guys have a great rest of your day, and I will see you later. Goodbye.